Prompts enable you to select some or all content of a report for analysis. So executing a prompted report involves providing answers that help determining the content of the result set. So for example, in this screenshot over here, before the sales and distribution by category report is executed, the user is presented with the following prompt where it requires him to specify the category and year for which they want to view data. So all that a prompted report does is it's asking you or prompting you to select what should be your result set. Please note that reports can have a single prompt or they can have multiple prompts, and some of them can be some or all of the content is dynamic, especially when it comes to a prompted report, because everything is based on the answer that you select in the prompt. Now, prompts, when a report has a prompt, those prompts can be mandatory, that is you cannot run the report unless you select a prompt answer, or it can be optional, that is you can skip the prompt totally, so it'll display everything, based on the attributes and metrics that are chosen in the report. Sometimes prompts can be with one answer, or it may be multiple answers. So for example, if a prompt is business unit ID equal to, which means you have to select only one business unit ID. If a prompt is business unit ID in list, it means that you have an option to select one or more. And one very good option over here is you can save a prompt answer and use them again if you can use them again in another report if they have those same attributes set as prompts. I'm going to show this to you in a hands-on exercise. So just a quick note on required versus optional prompt. In a required prompt, you must provide an answer before the report will execute. And all the required prompts in a report have the word required mentioned in red right next to the prompt. And if it's optional, you can choose whether to respond to the prompt or not. And if you don't respond, the report will execute without it. Single prompt. Now, sometimes they can contain, as I mentioned, reports can contain a single prompt. So if you select in this report over here, there is only one prompt over here, that is category. And the minute the user selects what categories he wants in the report, he can go ahead and run the report. And sometimes a report can have multiple prompts. So for example, in this screenshot over here, there is a prompt on the number of vendors by the open payable amount and also the number of customers. And as you can see, both of them are required over here, which means the user can't proceed on running or executing the report unless these are answered. And if you have a report with multiple prompts, depending on the number of prompts, they may all be sitting in one page or they may span across pages. And you can save prompt answers and reuse them when you run the same report, and it's useful especially when you have a long list of elements. Now, there are different types of prompts. I would not spend too much time on this because I would say it gets more into advanced reporting, but just for understanding what are the different types of prompts, let me quickly touch base on these. So hierarchy qualification prompt is basically you can define a prompt where the user can choose a specific hierarchy. So you can choose all the attributes that are coming from the product hierarchy. So which means that when or let's say for example time hierarchy, if I say that the user should be prompted on time hierarchy, in my project, my time hierarchy contains year, quarter and month. The user will be prompted only for those attributes. Or you can have a specific attribute qualification prompt, and just like how you're doing in your current BI tool. So you choose a specific attribute. For example, you choose a customer region and you can ask the user, you can prompt for the customer region and the user gets to qualify or select that attribute. Then there's an attribute element list. Let's say that you definitely want the user to be prompted with years, but if my data set contains years from 2006 to 2014, you always want the user to pick up only 3 years. You can provide them a predefined list of elements. How is this good? It's good in the way that let's assume you had a long list of years over here. Instead of scrolling to and fro that list, you are defining that list to the user. It makes it makes the navigation of that specific prompt more easier. Or you can also prompt on a metric. So for example, if my report has got, let's say um, it's got revenue and it's got quantity, and I want to prompt saying that do you want to run this report with revenue metrics, that is with the dollar metrics, or do you want to run this report with the quantity metrics? You have that option available too. So this allows users to create their own instant filter for data returned for one or more metrics. So for example, in this screenshot over here, this is about a store manager who needs a report to show sales data for those products whose current inventory falls below a certain count. That's why you have the metric item count over here. However, the report doesn't need to necessarily display the inventory counts for those products. That is, it's asking the user whether you want to choose a metric, that is, you want to choose the item count to be displayed in the report, or just run the report without showing this specific metric. And then you have the object prompt. Let's say you have a report with 10 objects in it. You can select which objects you want to be displayed in the report when you click on run report. So assume that my report has profit, revenue, quarter, and customer region. Do I want to have all of them and you want the report to run with them, or you want to select only profit and revenue and user gets to select what object he wants to get the report prompted on? How does this help? If your report has many objects and if it runs into many pages, you can restrict the query performance of the report by selecting what you want for that particular time of analysis. So in my report, I want to analyze on only customer region and quarter, but I only want the profit and don't want the revenue. You can set your prompt in such a way that the user gets to choose what he wants to see in the report.